Hi everyone, can you hear me? Hello, can anyone on IRC confirm you can hear me? Nobody on IRC, okay. Um, oh, looks like it's working now. Hello everyone, can you hear me? Great, thank you. So, welcome to this workshop. I'm David Callé, and I'm part of the Ubuntu community. And during this session, I'm going to show you how to make a simple scope for the Unity 8 Dash. Unfortunately, I'm a bit sick today, so I'll do my best to speak clearly. At the end of the workshop, you will have time to ask questions, but feel free to ask them at any point. So what we are going to do is using Qt Creator and one of the default scope templates. So I'm going to share my screen now. Okay. Can you see my screen? Doesn't look like it. Okay. Okay, I'm trying again. Do you see my screen? Apparently not. Oh. Yeah, it's working now. Okay, so we are going to start a new project and use one of the default scope templates. We are going to change it and make another scope using a different online service. I've spent some time today looking for a cool API we could use, and I've found out that iFixit had a nice one. So if you don't know iFixit, it's a website hosting a lot of guides and tutorials for repairing your hardware. They are pretty famous for their teardowns of new devices, where they completely dismantle new hardware from famous companies and rate the repairability level. So the purpose of the scope we are going to make is to give users a way to search for guides to repair hardware. So it should be pretty handy. We're going to create a new project, use the Unity scope template. We're going to name it iFixit scope. Oh, already exists. So, if you have followed the previous session, you should know what is basically it's my developer information, and I'm setting up the template. Scope name iFixit. We are going to use a scope with network access because this is an online API. And template type, we're going to pick the first one, a Qt scope, using HTTP and JSON API. my kits. So the desktop one and the phone one, which is the ARM one. And I won't add it to version control now. Finish. You can find all the code for this tutorial. I'm pasting the link on IRC now. It's here. It's the finished workshop. And if you have trouble following along, you can just have a look at this file later. Okay, it looks like there is a bit of delay, so I'm going to wait. So, we are going to change a few files, only a few files. The template is providing a lot of things. I'm opening everything I will need. Okay. So the first thing we are going to change is the API configuration. Basically, the scope template is in two parts. You have one part dealing with the online API, and the other part dealing with the scopes API. So for now, we're going to change the online part. In config.h, let me give you the link as well. It's here. We are going to change this part. So this is the API endpoint, the API route. Currently, it's querying open weather map to get weather data, and we don't want that. We're going to use, let me see, I have it here, the iFixit API. So we just need to change the API route here, and we are done with this file. Next, what we're going to change is the data structure or the scope is going to use for the API. So this is in client H, and as you can see, there are a lot of structures already to deal with weather data. So we're going to remove a lot of stuff and to change. So let's remove all this. This is about weather information. We don't need that. Same from this function that queries weather. We don't need it. So we have this structure here. We're going to change that into guide. So the idea is to get guides from iFixit. And each guide have some properties. So we're going to use string for the title. Oh, let me see. Yeah. Title. Then the image, we're going to call it thumbnail. The text, it's a basic description for each guide. The URL. All these properties are strings, so it's pretty straightforward. Another one, which is the device. Device which is the device for the guide for Nexus 4, for anything you want. And we are left with stuff from weather, temperature. We don't need that. Okay, so we have our guide object. That's where we're going to store each guide. but we also need a list of guides. So it's here, the list of guide objects. We're going to call that guide list. And something to store all that, which is guides. Never mind, we don't need that. Yes, this is this one we want. So guides, guide list type. We don't need CD anymore. Guide. So we have our structures defined. Here, our function that we use to get guides. So we are going to call it guides. Yeah. Let's make that a bit different. Yeah, guides, and here query guides, because this is what we are going to use to query guides from the API. And the number of days for the forecast, we don't need that. We only need the query. We are going to. So this query is the user query that the user makes in the scope that we are sending to our query guides function. And that's it for client.h. So we have defined our data structure for the online API. Next, we are going to change of this function in client.cpp. So in source API client.cpp, we are a lot of stuff that we're going to delete because it's weather related and we don't need that anymore. So let's remove this first function. Okay. So to rename this with what we have set before. It was query guides, yes. Thanks autocomplete. Remove this argument. We need query. So what this is going to do? This is going to get you the user query from the scope and query the iFixit API and return a list of guides. So here, this get function is querying the network. So this is the get function. We are not going to change it. It's a basic get function that builds a URI and returns a JSON object. So this is exactly what we need to change it. What we want to change is here. So this function builds the URI path. So it's using the API route we have here, and it's adding a few more path elements. So here, let me look. When I'm looking to this side, it's another screen. I'm not ignoring you. So yeah, the iFixit URI is, you can see it here. It's API /2.0/search/ the search query. So that's what we're going to use here. Search and the query. Then we have a few parameters to the URI. We have one. It's a filter one. We are going to filter the API results to only returns guide and teardown. Teardown are what I explained earlier, when they completely dismantle the device and try to explain how it could be repaired. So it's pretty useful. So I'm going to remove all that. And we add a parameter, which is filter. I'm going to use filter, guide, and teardown. And this is a root object that will be returned as JSON. So, forecast. No, this is not forecast, this is guides. So, here we have a lot of weather-related stuff. We are going to remove most of it. Well, we're just going to keep this part that turns our JSON object into a map. This is pretty straightforward, as you can see. Okay, don't need all that. Okay, let's have a look at the standard API results. So, here is our iFixit API. So it's JSON. It's not very nice to read like that, but what you can see is that you have a results object containing a list. So what I want is to iterate over this list of results. Just use results here. Let's call that guides list. So as you can see, it takes our object and returns a list. Don't want this. Let's see. What are we missing? Oh no, never mind. We don't need that. Sorry. Oh, one thing we are going to do is to create an image object. So, as you can see in the API, where is it? Here. Where is it? Image. It's here. Yeah. So we have a lot of different images. So we are going to create an image object to pick one from that. So it's map, like the previous one. We're going to call that images. Is there? Oh yeah. Probably. It's going to be image to map. Okay. So here, guide, not weather. It's a guide object. So here we're going to replace this. If you look at client.h, you can see our properties are in a specific order. So we're going to fill that object in the same order. So title that we are casting to a string and to a standard string, because we are using, as you can see, the Qt JSON parser. So we need standard strings for the Scopes API. Next, it's image, I think. Yeah. Sure. So images, and we are going to use the standard image size. Let's do two more here. Okay. Text. Everything I'm typing here is from the API. As you can see, you have the title here, the text somewhere, then the URL, and the category, which is actually the device name. And we are done for the parsing. So we have done everything we need on the online. Now we are going to take care of the Scopes API. So as you can see, API and scope. What we are going to change is in query.cpp. So this used to deal with weather. We're going to delete a lot of stuff in there. So the query for the current weather, we don't need it anymore. Let's remove all that. Let me paste the file on IRC. Here you go. So, okay. We are going to remove. So these two green things are categories. These are the JSON definitions of scope categories. So we are going to delete the one we're not going to use. So we have the weather template one. Let's keep that name. We don't really care about it. But what's important, it's what's inside. So the layout is the way all your results will be laid out in the scope view. So currently it's a grid. I'm going to keep it this way. Card layout is the way the data in individual cards is laid out. So horizontal, which is okay, you will see that in a minute. Card size small, well, since we want the cards to take all the width of the device, let's just remove it, we don't need it. Components. It's each individual field of the result card. So we have our title component that's going to use a title field. I'll explain that in a minute. Here, we don't want the art field. The art field is like a big image. We want a smaller one, which is mascot. And I'm going to use the, well, I'm going to call the field. And subtitle is the text under the title. Makes sense. So here, what do we change? Forecast. Not forecast. Guides. Guides. The function we are going to query was query guides. By the way, Qt Creator has a great autocomplete. Here you can see we query the query guides function at 2 points. So the difference between those two is that when the query string is empty, so it's when the user opens the scope, and the second one is for when the user types a query in the scope. So by default, we're going to get Linux guides, because why not? It's mostly useful for people having an Ubuntu phone. And here the query string, so we don't change anything here. Next, so what we are doing now is registering our category. So this category need to be sent to the scope. So here is the category ID. The user won't see it, so let's leave forecast. Here is the category name. This is a scope with a single category, so we don't really need a category name. Just remove it and it will hide the category header. So no name, no icon, and it's using the template we have here. So what we are going to do now is to iterate over each guides object. So, guides, guide, I guess that's it. So each result object needs to register its category. So the one we have declared here. And we need to set the URI of the scope. So of the scope, no, sorry, of the result. So each result needs its own URI. So guide URI URL, sorry. Guide URL. This is weather related, we don't need it. As you can see, we have result set URI, so guide URL, result set title. This will be the title of each result. So it's guide.title. Oh, so it's guide here. Makes sense. So here is set art. As you can see, we are not using the art field. We are using the mascot field with a mascot name. So I'm just going to use mascot. Some of the fields have predefined functions like set URI, set title, but you can also create arbitrary fields in your result. Like I'm doing right now, guide dot thumbnail. Subtitle. Here, guide device. And description, well, let's remove it for now. I'm seeing a question on IRC. So, result URI. It's used when you click on a result. It opens the URI either in the web browser or if an application has registered this URI, it opens the result in the application. So it's mandatory because you can't have a result without a destination. But this destination can be a file on the device that will be opened in any application you want. Okay, so I think we have everything. Let me check. So we are ready to run our scope for the first time. Hopefully it will build without errors, and if it does, oh, here's the typo. So I'm going to use the desktop kit, so it will open in Unity Scope Tool, and I will run the scope and not the test, because we don't have tests for now. Okay, let's run it. Hopefully it will build. Okay, forecast. Hey, it's here. Let's try again. Okay, I hope it will work. A few warnings, that's okay. Let's wait. Okay. Yes, it opens, but without any data. So that means I've made a mistake. So let's see where that mistake is. Well, what I'm going to do is just to paste the content of the working file, actually. So let me open the scope, the other scope project I've made to prepare this workshop. We're just going to take query.cpp and paste there. Okay, let's build it again. Oh, it works, but that's not the right project, sorry. That's the finished project. Okay, so what I've just done is set the current project as active project. Oops, let's try again. Okay, so it opens, and we don't have results. That's interesting. Okay, there was probably a mistake in my pathing method, so I'm just going to paste the content here. Client.cpp. Let's try again. Oh, no, it works. So, yeah, there was an issue with parsing. So, as I said, you can find all these files. Here I'm pasting the URI on IRC again. And so yeah, the scope is fully working. If we click on a result, we can see it opens a preview. And you can search for, let's search for Nexus 7 screen if I want to replace the screen of my Nexus 7. And here we are. Okay, Nexus 7 teardown. That should explain how to change the screen of the device. And as you can see, we have a lot of guides here. And by default, it displays Linux guides. Okay, here we go. So yeah, temperature monitoring in Linux. What next? Yeah. So right now the scope works, but it doesn't look very good. So we're going to change one more file. It's the file used to declare how the scope looks. So it's data scope ID.ini. So here we have the display name of the scope. Let's just call that iFixit. Description that will be used when the user wants to install the scope. But let's just leave it like this. The art is a screenshot of the scope. Okay. Let's keep it that way. The name of the author and the icon for the scope. So this is useful when you will publish your scope. We are not going to do this right now. For now, we're going to take care of the appearance of the scope. So it's in the appearance section, and we have the logo. So you can download a logo, an iFixit logo, and add it to the project folder. But you can also just query an online logo. So I have the URI here. Yep. It's this one. Save the file and run it again. Run the scope. As you can see, we now have an iFixit logo. But still looks bad. Let's change a few more things. So what we have here is page header divider color. So the divider is this between the header of the scope and the content. So let's run the scope again and see. It's starting to look a bit better, but I would prefer to have the scope to have a white background for the header and for the content. So here we have background color, which applies to the scope, and page header background, which is the header. Let's run the scope again. It looks much better. So previews are white too, the header is white. Oh, we could add one more thing. I think it's page header foreground. Try. We're going to use see if that works. Let's go again. Nope, that was not it. I guess it's foreground color. Again. Oh yeah, much better. So what I've changed here is the color of the icons. It's a bit nicer. So I think we are done with the scope. Let's try a search. I don't know, let's scroll a bit. Let's search for an iPad. And yep, the scope is working nicely. It's a bit slow, but I guess that's my network. And that's pretty much it. So I'm going to run it on my phone. So with my phone kit, I have my phone connected to my laptop. So CMake is running in the background, and now I can run scope on the phone. So let's try. I'm going to disable screen sharing to show you my phone. Okay, how do I disable it? Okay, I guess you can see the phone. I'm pressing run, and it's going to build. Let's wait. So it's building. Should appear in a moment. The build is finished. And so you cannot see much, but that's all. That's our scope. We can make a search. Let's search for Nexus. That's a Nexus 4, by the way, which is running Ubuntu Touch very nicely. So, and here we go, Nexus 4 result from iFixit. And that's pretty much it. So let's look at questions. So any guides or example on handling custom preview actions? Not yet. There is a tutorial developer.ubuntu.com/scope/tutorials. I think the SoundCloud tutorial has something on previews. Here's a link. At the bottom of the tutorial, there is a part on previews that shows you how to add preview widgets. So the image is a widget, the title is a widget, and of course, in the preview code, let me share my screen again. So it's in preview.cpp. You can do pretty much anything you want in here. So you could call client.cpp and do any query and send the data you want. The idea is that in preview, you get all the fields you have sent with the result, even fields that are not displayed in the result card. So you can, if you want, let's see, query.cpp, and register another field like I don't know, extra data. Thing. And this extra data field will be available in the preview. So you could just get this data. As you can see here, we get the art, we get the title, the subtitle, and I could just use extra data here to have my data, even if it's not displayed in the result cards. It can be displayed in the preview. You can do an online query and gather more information and anything you want. So that's pretty much it. Okay. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask them now. In the meantime, I'm just going to show you the scope one more time. Let's see if I change the brightness of the screen. It's slightly better. Turn brightness down to the minimum. Yes, it works. So each result as a preview. You can add a preview button to open the URL in the web browser or in an iFixit app. And that's it. So Robert Roll, handling clicks on buttons yourself? No, that's not really possible. What preview buttons do is that they open a new URI. That's pretty much it. But you can open an app URI. You can have many buttons. So another question: online accounts. Any guide to interfacing with online accounts? Not yet. It's going to have. Let me give you the link to the YouTube scope that's dealing with online accounts. That should help getting you started with it. I think it's in C++ as well. Should be. Yeah. Regarding design guidelines, which is another question. Let me go back to scopes/tutorials. Yes, there is a customization and branding guide, which are not actual guidelines, but will help you getting started with branding your scope. So yeah, it's pretty much free at the moment. If you look at existing scopes, let me show you one. Let's see. Most of the time, when you are using a scope for a specific service, like eBay, for example, it uses the eBay logo. It's pretty white, but if we look at Open Library, the header is beige with a blue hint for the divider, which matches the Open Library branding. So it's probably a good idea to follow your source branding, but if you are using like a mashup of various sources, it's up to you to make your scope look good. And I think we are reaching the end of the workshop. So if you have any other question, ask them now. Oh, and by the way, yes, text orientation was text alignment. Well, when you specify a result layout, all the alignment and layout of specific cards attributes is handled by the dash. So you just send your data in the specific field, and everything is laid out by the dash. And that's the end of this workshop. Thank you for joining. And if you have any question, you can reach me on IRC. And you have some tutorials on developer.ubuntu.com. If you need any help, you can send me an email or on IRC, David Callé. Thank you. Bye.